Well, I started in the advertising business, and I started an advertising agency that promoted Las Vegas, became one of the larger ones in the Southwest United States, R&R Advertising. It still promotes Las Vegas today. So all the ads you see for the city come from that company. I sold it to the employees a few years ago. I worked in political campaigns around the country from time to time. I wrote speeches, for politicians while I was in college. And it evolved, and I went to Washington, D.C., and I was one of the three directors that oversaw the campaign for Ronald Reagan for president in 1984. The Tuesday team, we called it. And we created Morning and Again in America, which you might recall. And so we won a lot of awards, and we won 49 states. So it turned out pretty well. As time went on, President Bush asked me to come back and be his advertising director for president in 1988, which I did. I took time off. And then I met him later, and he asked me to come in the White House as an assistant to the president, which was the highest rank you can have in the White House. And so I did. I put my company in a blind trust. I moved into the West Wing of the White House, not far from the president's office, and my job was to create and oversee new initiatives and travel with the president wherever he went. So I was blessed to have been able to fly with Ronald Reagan and film and produce and do commercials for him. And I was equally blessed to be with George Bush and travel to close to 50 countries and all 50 states, I believe, and maybe 200 or 300 cities, probably 1,000,000 miles on Air Force One, and later I served as a U.S. ambassador to Iceland, where I was born, and I'm a naturalized citizen. So I went back for a short period until the president called me back again to help in the campaign, to let others know about what a great company I think this could be. Actually, what a great company it is now. They run it well, and that's probably one of the main reasons why I got involved with them. I think what Michael and Lorenzo brought to the table and the way they run the business and the innovations that they've produced, within the framework of their own company is what enticed me the most to come with them. Innovation, if you look at the way they produce their products, there's no taste of marijuana in their edibles, for example. And I think they create efficiencies. And of course, the people who started the company, Lorenzo and Michael and others, are tireless in their work ethic. So I don't see how anybody keeps up with them in that regard. And I think all of that lends itself to a great future for them. Well, I think it's the next big growth industry. I think it's kind of like the internet industry. It's just commonplace now. And I think you're going to see states legalize it everywhere. It's a revenue producer, number one. They haven't even begun to touch on the medical operations yet and what it may or may not be able to do. There's been a little of that, but just the little that's been there is extraordinary. And then when you think about how they're going to dig into this product and determine what potential assistance it can give for people in need of medical assistance, I think the sky's the limit. And I think the day will come when they legalize it nationally. I think it'll be reclassified, and it's scheduled, with Justice Department in the United States. And you've got a lot of prominent people who are actively involved in the industry now, people with credibility, people who understand the potential for the product. And I just think it's just beginning, really. I don't think there's really an exerted effort to go after the industry. I think there might have been at the outset, some who were rigid and living in old traditions and taboos. But every day you read stories about how new and wonderful products are coming into the marketplace, for medicinal needs. And then I just saw a story not long ago in the Wall Street Journal. They talk about the new frontier of medical opportunities that doctors are looking at, potentially to help people with Alzheimer's, brain neurological diseases, relief in pain after operations. Anxiety. They're just touching on so many extraordinary things that this product can provide. And so I'm excited about that. I don't think there's a great big challenge in terms of getting approvals. I think that if you look at the national polls, it's something like 65 to 60 to 70% of Americans now believe that marijuana is beneficial. You know, it's had a transformational change. And I think we're right on the cusp of all of that. And I think this company especially has a chance to be one of the leaders. You know, we're going to assemble a great board of directors. I'm going to work on that. It's going to be one of my roles. I've already reached out to some prominent Americans with names that lend credibility to what we're doing, and I'm proud to say that I've had positive response in that regard. I haven't finalized those things because we're not at the place where we should be doing it, but my early indications are that we're going to have a sterling board of directors and great opportunity to showcase what we do best. I did, yes. We bought several shares and more, and we spend a lot of time and money to travel with everybody, and so we're all in. So I'm excited about it, and I'm committed to it, and I'm proud to be part of it all. I would tell them to look at the potential and think that they're on the ground floor of what other great companies have provided in the past in different industries. I don't think there's a growth industry that potentially is there today as I see with the marijuana industry, because you can't close the borders on this kind of thing. Once the genie's out of the bottle, it's going to grow, and people are going to see the benefits, and people who had predispositions about what the product can or cannot do are going to change their minds. And everybody I talk to talks to me about ointments and salves on their bodies and things that cause athletes to lessen the pain in their knees and their joints. And, so when I hear that, and, it's a small world, it doesn't take long for everybody to talk to everybody. And especially in this thing called, I used to call it the 24-hour news cycle. Now it's like the 24-second news cycle. Everything makes its way quickly. So new utilizations of the product, new and better cures with the product, those things become mainstream very quickly. In my career, I've had the privilege of traveling with presidents and kings and queens, around the world, and I've been honored, to be there. And so I take a lot of pride in the things that I've done, and I try to do them with propriety, with the full sense of propriety and decorum. And when I put my name on something, it's very important to me. It's meaningful to me. My career lends itself to things that some people shake their heads at because they're in a little disbelief. I've been blessed in that regard and honored. So I take this seriously, and I wouldn't be here if I didn't believe in this company and the people behind it. And so they're going to be my partners, and I'm going to be part of their team, and I think we have great opportunity.